Welcome back to All Things Creepy. I'm your host, Micah James. This week, I know this episode is a day late, but I am talking about cursed and haunted objects. I will be posting pictures of a majority of these objects on my Instagram, so in case you guys are interested in seeing what they look like, just head over there at All Things Creepy Pod. Especially, I'm gonna be talking about a lot of paintings, so these paintings are definitely gonna be over there for sure. I officially have 11 objects that I'm talking about, but 2 of them are honorable mentions because these are objects where it's like if you're gonna have an episode on cursed and or haunted objects, you kinda can't not talk about these things. But that's coming later in the episode. Today, we are starting off with the Hope Diamond. It is 45 carats and violet in color and is supposedly haunted and cursed. More than likely, it was cut from a mine in India, but the legend says that it was stolen from a statue of a god. I personally couldn't find which god it was stolen from, so if someone does know, please reach out to me so I can pass on that information. Those who have had contact with it have had met untimely and very upsetting fates. To name 2 of them, Jacques Cole committed suicide and a merchant named Jean Le Tavernier was mauled by dogs. But a lot of these could be coincidences, as is the case with a lot of things like this. However, the thing is now sitting at the can't talk. For now, the Hope Diamond is sitting at at the Smithsonian. Our second item on the list is the woman from Lem. This is a limestone statue and it looks a little bit strange. It's very hard to describe, so this will be one of the things that will be posted on my Instagram so you can see it. In case you don't go over to Instagram, it looks vaguely like a very exaggerated version of a woman's curves. It was crafted in about 3500 BCE and eventually found in Cyprus in 1878. This statue belonged to 3 families in total before being donated to the Royal Scottish Museum. The first family was made up of 7 members and all died within 6 years of ownership. The second family died after only 4 years. It disappeared for a time before the third and finally. The second family died after only 4 years and it disappeared for a time before the third and final family laid claim. Got it all out. After several members died, the remaining 2 living people donated the statue to the museum, which I feel like is the very smart decision. I personally couldn't find any more about anyone else dying because of this statue. So who knows if they did. Again, this statue was crafted in 3500 BCE, so a lot of other strange shit could have happened in that time period. Number 3 isn't necessarily an object, but still interesting nonetheless. It is the phone number 0888 888 888. I just felt like I had to touch upon this supposedly cursed number because it does kind of have an interesting story. The first one to hold this number was Mobitel CEO Vladimir Grashnov. He died from cancer at the age of 48 in 2001. The number then belonged to a Bulgarian mob boss who was shot by an assassin in 2003. The final holder of the number was a businessman. This guy was also fatally shot, this time outside of a restaurant in 2005. After his death, Mobitel suspended the number with no explanation as to why, though many people believe it's because of this supposed curse. Here's the thing with this one, I just think it's a very, very unfortunate coincidence. It's unfortunate that a lot of people die from cancer, but a lot of people do. As far as the mob boss being shot, from what I know about the mob, just a lot of people do get shot. So the fact that he ended up dying from an assassination unfortunately makes sense. And then the businessman who got fatally shot outside of a restaurant, it's just one of those things where it's like, it sucks that it happened, but these things just sometimes happen. And it's very unfortunate. But again, I just think it's a string of three very unfortunate coincidences. Number four is our first painting on the list, The Anguished Man. This painting is supposedly the most haunted painting to ever exist in the world. Legend has it that the painter used a mixture of his own blood with the oil paints before he committed suicide. Sean Robinson is, as far as I know, the current owner, or at least the most current owner that I could find. He had inherited it from his grandmother, who had it locked up in her attic for 25 years. She warned her grandson that this painting was very disturbing. She reported hearing a strange voice and crying coming from the painting itself, as well as seeing a shadow of a man. Sean brushed it off and took it into his home, where his family then started hearing and seeing similar things. And I read that he now has it in his basement, or at least had it in his basement. Number five is this haunted wedding dress. This specific wedding dress once belonged to a young woman named Anna Baker, the daughter of a man named Elias Baker. He built a mansion now known as Baker Mansion in 1849. Anna ended up falling in love with this local steel worker. The worker was in a lower class than the Bakers, so the young man and Anna were forbidden to marry each other. This made the girl just so upset that she refused to marry anybody else and died unmarried in 1914. The Baker Mansion was later converted into a museum, which is fairly common for old houses, especially in the US. Now, nowadays, people have reported seeing the wedding dress move within the glass case that it's kept in, and a lot of employees of the museum have seen both Anna and Elias wandering the halls. Number six is The Crying Boy. This was a painting created by Italian artist Bruno Amadeo and was mass produced in the 1950s, depicting a crying boy or girl. In 1985, the British tabloid The Sun reported that a firefighter found multiple paintings completely unscathed from the house fires. This led many people to believe that the painting was cursed. However, writer Steve Punt decided to investigate this mystery because so many people were reporting the same exact thing. Everything around the painting burned while it remained just fine. And honestly, I would have done the same thing as Steve, because I like to say that I'm an optimistic skeptic. I want to see any potential logical explanation to it. So I commend him for trying to get to the bottom of this mystery. His investigation found that the artwork seemed to be varnished with some sort of fire repellent. But on the other hand, this doesn't quite explain the amount of people who all owned the painting and had a fire happen in their home. Like, there were just enough of these fires where it just makes it seem a little bit weird, but it's not weird enough where it's like doesn't completely seem like completely off the cuff. Oh, it's definitely cursed. But like I said, it does kind of remain like, all right, that's just super weird. Number 7 is the hands resist him. As I said, we were talking about a lot of haunted paintings. This one is also referred to as the eBay haunted painting, as someone put this painting up for sale. It's a picture of a young boy and a female doll in front of a glass door with hands pressing against it. It became viral thanks to an eBay post from February 2000, where the seller describes in detail about how it is cursed and haunted. The seller also claimed that the characters in the painting moved and sometimes left the painting altogether. Other paintings of the work provided proof that the doll is threatening the boy with a gun, which causes the boy to attempt to leave. In the post, he also states in the disclaimer that purchase of the painting absolves him of anything that might happen with it if you so chose to buy it. This picture is probably the creepiest one I've ever seen. It's just very unsettling. So I don't know if that speaks to its hauntedness or not, but it at the end of the day, it is super fucking creepy. 8 was probably the weirdest one to be added to my list, but is it's the Blarney Stone rocks. This seems super weird because the Blarney Stone is more associated with good luck rather than bad luck. The superstition is that you kiss the rocks and it means good luck is coming your way. And honestly, that made me curious as to why it was even on any of the other lists that I found as to like why it's haunted or cursed or anything like that. But apparently, according to the other side of the superstition, if you take one of the rocks that are part of the stone, it's supposed to bring you bad luck. People have reported loss of employment, depression, and financial troubles, among other things. Many have mailed back their cursed souvenirs within several weeks and sometimes even a few months. Number 9 is a doll, which dolls in and of themselves are pretty creepy if you ask me. But this one is named Okiku. This haunted doll was owned by a young girl. Suppose I guess a lot of people think that the young girl's name was Okiku, which is where the doll got its name, but who knows? The young girl lived on the Japanese island of Hokkaido. She ended up meeting an untimely end and now, as you'd expect, still lives within the doll. The family decided to move and left the doll with monks at a local hotel, at a local temple. Okiku still resides there to this day. Many have reported seeing her hair grow despite being an inanimate object. And I think if you look at her at a certain angle, you can also people have reported seeing her teeth grow as well. All right, number 10 is where I'm kind of like I'm calling the honorable mentions, so it's 10 and 11. And again, I couldn't do this episode without at least mentioning these next two. Robert the Doll is probably one of the more famous haunted dolls out there. And I'm going to be doing a full episode on him at some point. but it was given to a young boy by one of the family's servants. It is said that it was cursed by one of these servant by the servant who made it, as the family was allegedly horrible to the staff. So he it's also about toddler size, around 3 feet, and supposedly made with the hair of Robert the child. So that in and of itself is pretty creepy. And finally, probably the most famous haunted object that is on this list, Annabelle. She rose to fame thanks to the Conjuring films. I honestly think that the real Annabelle is creepier than its movie counterpart. The movie version of Annabelle is this like glass doll and looks a little bit cracked. And to me, when you try to make things look scary, they're not as scary to me, especially when you know that Annabelle was originally a Raggedy Ann doll. This Raggedy Ann doll is reported to be haunted by a demon, but as far as I can find, that accusation was initially made by the Warrens. So while it might be true, I can't fully believe it without anyone else backing up their claims. And this is another one that I can do a whole entire episode on, and potentially make it like 30 to 45 minutes long. So I'm just gonna, because I want to look into it, see how true the Warrens claims are, and the Warrens are another episode as well. They Because I don't want to get into the whole how I feel about them right now, because that's a whole other thing. But again, based on the stories that I have heard about Annabelle in general, I do believe that she's haunted by something. I can't, like I said, I can't necessarily fully. I still couldn't. I still can't make myself fully believe that it's haunted by a demon. All right. So that's all the haunted and cursed items that I have this week. Next week, not next week, next episode, I promise I'm going to make a little more polished. I just wanted you guys to have an episode out, get creeped out with me with haunted and cursed objects. I will see you guys next episode. All of my sources, as well as my social medias, will be in the show notes. So I will see you guys next time.